Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Token Post interview. I am here joined by Mr. Daniel Skowronski, the CEO of DX익스체인지. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
So, starting off, would you care to give a brief introduction about yourself?
Sure. I'm one of the co-founders of DX익스체인지. DX익스체인지 is a centralized utility token exchange. We're also launching a security token exchange at the same time. I think we're probably mostly known recently for our launch of digital tokens or digital stocks, where we've digitalized shares such as Apple and Google. We have a technology and surveillance partnership with NASDAQ, where we use their technology. And we're based in the EU under EU regulation. And we're in a soft launch right now, but we hope in February to be fully live.
The NASDAQ stock trading platform is something I really was interested in. So would you care to give a brief summary on how the technology takes place to hold the trade of stocks on using cryptocurrency, the concept of cryptocurrency?
Okay, so first on the NASDAQ part is, just to be clear, we use their technology. So we use two parts of it. One is the matching engine technology, which is where all the trades kind of come together. And the second part is the surveillance system, which is a system that monitors all the trading and the activity on the exchange. So it's looking for anything such as trade manipulation, any kind of pump trading, any kind of irregularities in terms
Yes.
of trading. And in terms of the digital stock, so the way it works is a company called MPS Securities. They're based in Cyprus. They're EU regulated under a market maker license, so they have the same MiFID II ISMA regulation as does anyone like an HSBC or Citibank. And what they've done is they have the right to purchase and hold securities, real securities. So say for
From
example,
actual companies, right?
From actual companies, right? So for example, Tesla. Right, so they'll purchase Tesla, and what they've done is they've basically taken Tesla in this stock and created it into a ERC20 token, and they digitalized it. So each token is backed by one single share of Tesla stock. That token, that ERC20 token, is traded on DX익스체인지.
So just like stable coins are traded on behalf of a dollar,
It's
a dollar
very similar,
bill,
correct.
So stocks are traded on behalf of your tokens listed on DX익스체인지, is that correct?
Correct. It's very similar. You know, the one thing is I want to point out is this is not considered a security token in the traditional sense. It's more of what's called a derivative product under the MiFID II and the EU rules, right? So similar to how CFDs work with in terms of providing more leverage and things like that, which we don't provide, but it is a derivative offering under the ISMA rules. That's how we were able to make this work.
But then the fact that you mentioned it being the tokens not being a security is something I really want to get into. So when it comes to stocks, when a person buys stocks, it's bought under the name of the concept of a security. But then if they are buying a cryptocurrency, a representative cryptocurrency on behalf of it, would they be subject to legal issues when it comes to trading or buying the stocks itself?
In terms of legal issues, no. I think the best thing about buying the digital stock is two things. One, you can now buy a fraction of a share. So for example, one of the things that I really like about the digital stocks and that we've gotten a lot of interest around is, have you ever heard of the term the bank the unbankable? So it's almost like trade the untradeable, right?
Yes.
So for example, in Indonesia, they're the largest user base of Facebook. But nobody can own the stock because it's too expensive for them. But now, this being able to digitalize, say, Facebook like we have, somebody can buy just $10 or $5 or $20 worth of Facebook stock and be able to now feel as if they're a part ownership. Because that token is backed by the real share, they still end up with the rights, for example, as a dividend. Now, they don't get the voting rights, but they do get the dividend rights. So, the one thing I also want to make clear is, from a legal perspective, we don't allow U.S. customers to trade on DX. And also, what we've done is, when somebody wants to take this token into their own personal wallet off the exchange, that wallet must be whitelisted. And what that does is it locks the token to that particular user, as well as they can only then trade it amongst other whitelisted wallets. So for example, if I had it and you weren't whitelisted, I could never sell you that Apple stock. So this basically does two things. One, it helps DX keep a track of where all the tokens are to make sure that they stay and maintain the ledger. As well as two, it doesn't fall into the hands of people who are legally not allowed to trade these types of instruments or derivative products, which in this case is US citizens.
To be honest, personally, I'm a huge fan of DX Exchange.
Thank you very much.
But
me too.
But then, when it comes to some recent weeks, it's been a bit of a bumpy road.
Yeah.
Now, first thing we have to we have to start off with is the security vulnerability that was detected by a company named Ars Technica, which suggested that the codes that you have implemented within your platform has a vulnerability which leaks valuable user information. Would you care to comment on that?
Well, we made our comment publicly, but I will say it wasn't the platform, it was on the website. So just to be clear, it had nothing to do with the trading platform, it was more on the website. And we as soon as we heard about it, we fixed it very, very quickly. And all the user data was safe. There was no risk to any of the funds at any time for any of the customers. And since then, it's been clear sailing. But one of the things that we did implement was we hired a new security firm out of Israel to basically do an additional round of consistent testing and penetration testing to make sure that the exchange stays safe and user funds continue to stay safe.
Was the vulnerability detected before you guys started listing users?
It was literally within, I think, the first couple hours that we went live. So there was a very limited amount of exposure, and those users that had been were already contacted, and things were changed and modified, and so we were very fortunate about that.
One surprising factor was that some of the employees' information was leaked.
It was actually from a different group of employees, not the main DX Exchange employee group. So it was interesting that this was even found or even out there. But yes, it was. I must admit, it was our fault. I'm a bit embarrassed by it. It was the last thing that we needed after setting out on and going live with the soft launch. But look, again, we fixed it right away, and the good thing is everything was safe.
So since then, how is the current status of DX Exchange? Has the user base been concretely found, and as well as the development or the trading platform as well?
So, again, we're in a soft launch, and as probably anyone who's in the tech space knows, even when you move from the test net over to production, for some reason it just doesn't still work as the same, even no matter how much testing you've done.
Yes.
And there's been some bugs and issues, but one thing I've been really, really proud to say is we've been been anticipated to be live since, I guess, around May of last year. And our community has been really, really supportive of us. I think people are thirsting for an exchange like ours to come online, and so they've kind of forgiven us so far for the bumps and roads, but I know we have a lot of work to do. I know the team is still working 24/7, trying to get some things that have been fixed, and it seems to be only to certain number of users in certain areas for some reason. But look, with any new exchange going live, there's always going to be bumps.
Yes,
I think if you look at some of the early ones on some of the other big guys that are today, they had a lot of bumps and bruises in the very beginning.
And there still are.
And there still are, right? So, but look, I think we're getting through the worst part of it, and it's just growing pains. But this is the whole point of having these kind of soft launches, is to work out these kinks and everything. And I think as long as there's no more security issues and user funds are safe, it seems like the community is really, really supporting, and I've been very, very fortunate, as well as very, very proud to say that the DX community has been exceptional in this case.
It's indeed fortunate that none of the funds from the users were stolen or leaked to any malicious actors. But then one allegation that DX Exchange received recently was about its operations or the owners of DX Exchange being partially a former owner of Spot Option, a binary trading platform. So would you care to comment on that as well?
I think we made the comments pretty clear in our Twitter account, and
Yes.
I think there's a lot of misinformation that's out there, and I think I'll just leave it at that.
But official document posted by the media portal suggested that the parent company of DX익s체인지 is indeed was a previous owner of Spot Option. Now, was the document something of a fraud, or was the document false, or did they get that wrong?
I haven't seen the document, so I can't really comment.
Okay. So, Nasdaq-based trading platform, that is a very prominent direction that you're headed for. But then it is not the only thing that DX익s체인지 is doing, right? Mm-hmm. Other than Nasdaq-backed trading, you also have stable coins. Also, I believe you might be tapping into cryptocurrencies as well, Bitcoin and all that.
Yeah, so again, we're a utility-based exchange as well. And I think we're listing the top 5 to 7 tokens for sure that are already on the exchange. You can go there and you can see them. And then we're adding new ones every day. I think, look, one of the things that we're doing is we're trying to look for good blockchain-based products. We feel as an exchange, it's kind of our responsibility to make sure that the projects that are good, that are out there, that are worth it, to be listed on the exchange. In other words, you can't buy your way onto DX like you can in some other exchanges. Mm-hmm. We're really looking for just new projects. Even the existing ones that are out there, it's great to have, just because if somebody's coming and they want to trade, I don't know, for example, Stellar or something, we should have that on the platform because it's a good project. But really, the reason why we come to a lot of the conferences or go on the road is we're actually really digging deep and searching for those really good projects to list on the exchange.
So this is one of my favorite questions when it comes to interviewing exchanges.
Okay.
So what is DX익s체인지's values when it comes to listing? Is it the market cap? Is it the value? Or is it the team? How would the process take place when it comes to listing on DX익s체인지?
I think it starts with the team, who's really there working on the project. And I'm not talking about the advisors, because that can be all fake, right? I don't even care who the investors are, right? It's more about who's actually working on the product. It's, and I think that's the kind of the value I look at even DX익s체인지. When you look at who I am, or who our COO is, or who are the people that are working as a development, that core team, that's the team that's going to deliver whether the product is going to be a success, not the investors, not the advisors. Most advisors aren't even involved in projects very rarely anyways, right? Mm-hmm. So it's really about looking at who that team is. So that's probably, for me, that's my number one. But just keep in mind, I'm not the one who really ultimately decides the choice. But I do know that's a big score on the ranking part. Mm-hmm. And then again, it's about whether or not the project is viable or not. And usually you see that from some sort of working prototype. Mm-hmm.
So, like you mentioned, the Nasdaq trading, the stock.
By the way, I'm curious to know what other exchanges answer to that.
Well, usually they refer to it as an internal progress where they can't disclose any specific procedures.
I don't mind. At the end of the day, for me, because most likely it's money first. But for us, again, it really is about who is the actual team working on the project.
Now, finishing off on the interview, would you care to leave a last comment to our Korean viewers as to raise awareness on the DX익s체인지 or the new concept of stock-backed trading of cryptocurrencies?
I think, again, DX익s체인지, we're fully regulated in the EU. One thing that we will be adding Korean won as one of the deposits. We are a fiat exchange, so currently we support USD, Euro, Yen, Sterling, and eventually Korean won. And South Korea is a very important market for us because we know that I think Korea has probably one of the largest active trader user bases. And we've come here a couple times, and we're even thinking about possibly even launching an office here and getting regulated. So we would love nothing more for you guys to come check it out. We have a Korean channel on Telegram. You can join it. And our full website is in Korean as well.
So will there be a Korean exclusive airdrop of Apple stocks?
we don't do any of the digital stocks as any kind of airdrops. Actually, we're not allowed to do airdrops from our regulation point of view. But there could be some DX Cash giveaways, perhaps.
Well, that is all the time we have today. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. That was Mr. Daniel Skowronski, the CEO of DX익s체인지.